Saram, dear listeners, and welcome once again to this series on Mrs. Ratanlal. Mrs. Ratanlal, the diamond of a devotee. Every time you utter the word diamond, what comes to your mind is what Bhagwan always mentioned when he created anything that was diamond. Swami said that you should dye your mind. And if you look at Mrs. Ratanlal's life, what she did is this. She ensured that her mind died. She ensured that her mind merged with her spirit, and that's how she shone as a resplendent servitor, as a fantastic jewel among the servitors of Bhagwan. And we are really so grateful to Swami for having given us this opportunity to contemplate on such a blessed life. We offer our salutations to him and welcome you to the sixth episode of this series. And in the previous episodes, we talked about how she came to Bhagwan, her first darshan, her first visit to Puttaparthi, her first Dasara in Puttaparthi, Swami's visit to Mumbai, and her frequent trips to Prashant Nilayam, and the opportunities of interviews that they used to have with Bhagwan in those days. And I mentioned to you how in the interviews that Bhagwan granted them in those days, in the 70s and 60s, this is what used to always happen. Swami would talk to Mr. Ratanlal about Advaita, about philosophy, and Mr. Ratanlal always was someone who was very intellectually oriented, and he loved discussions on dualism and spirituality, and Swami did that with Mr. Ratanlal. But when it came to Mrs. Ratanlal, there was no talking. Swami would just become silent, and Swami would himself sing Meera songs. When you just imagine that moment itself, it is so elevating. The moment Swami sees Mrs. Ratanlal, Swami only wants to sing Meera bhajan. It's like Swami is reminded of Meera. And it's like Swami was okay to talk about spirituality to Mr. Ratanlal, but when it came to Mrs. Ratanlal, she already had experienced spirituality. Swami was giving her the true ecstasy of spirituality because she was already her soul was already perhaps there in that stage of the journey. And in one of those interviews, those early interviews, one day, Swami looks at Mrs. Ratanlal and Swami says, "My Giridhar Gopal, you are my son. You are my Giridhar Gopal. You are my son." And for Mrs. Ratanlal, it was very puzzling. I mean, you can imagine Mrs. Ratanlal telling Swami that, "Swami, you're like my son, you're my Giridhar Gopal," because, we talked about how she felt that, she owned Swami and she belonged to Swami. But Swami is telling Mrs. Ratanlal, "You are my Giridhar Gopal. You are my son. You are my child." And she didn't really immediately get what is this Leela of Bhagwan, why Swami is saying this. And when she later reflected on this, she came back to the room and she was someone who always contemplated whatever Swami said, right from the time she had that faith that this is Bhagwan, anything that Swami said, she always went back and, she ruminated on that. And she says when she thought about it deeply, that's when it struck to her that many years ago, when she was doing this puja, and she was someone, she used to do this elaborate pujas in the morning, 2-3 hours puja, she would take every idol and she would decorate the idol and she would change the dress and she would chant mantras and she would spend so much time in that whole ritual and put her heart and soul into it. So there was once an occasion when she was changing her altar and she was bringing in new statues. So as she was taking each statue, she would, hug those statues and she would say, "My Giridhar Gopal, my Giridhar Gopal, my son, my child." And, she would wipe the statue and then she would keep it. So, and she had brought in new statues. So this is what she was doing to every statue, when she was making her new altar. And it just, when that hit her, you can't imagine how it would have been for her, we think that, we came to Swami at this point in time. We saw Swami in 65, and as we go on contemplating, I think this is a common experience for every devotee. You realize, no, I think Swami was there 5 years before. No, I think Swami was there 10 years before. No, actually Swami was there in my childhood. I think as we go on thinking, we realize how he was there all through. And it is one of those moments, and Swami was telling that every time you thought about Giridhar Gopal, you thought about God, I was there. I received all that love. I received, and it's the same Giridhar who is there now in front of you. And I think it was such a powerful moment for her to know that, her journey to Swami has been there not just of this lifetime but of many lifetimes. And that's when, she was so convinced that if there is anyone she should love in this world, anyone who is worthwhile of loving in this world, then it is only Swami. And that's how I think, that deep love for Bhagwan just became even more intense and strong. And I think these are those moments. It just happens in everyday's life, every devotee's life, isn't it, Prem? You just think that Swami has always been there.
Absolutely beautiful episode. Even as you were narrating that, I was reminded of another episode very similar, but here the emotion was a little different. It was narrated by one of the former students of Swami who came in the 70s. I mean, he was a student in the 70s, but his family, of course, came in the 60s when he was a little boy. So he would narrate that in the altar in their house, they had this specific picture of Lord Satyanarayana, right? Traditionally, South Indian families have this ritual of performing the Satyanarayana Vrata. Even Swami's mother had performed that. So they would have this picture, a painting of Lord Satyanarayana. And he always used to feel that why is the Lord having a frown on his face in this particular picture. And as a child, it would make him very uncomfortable, standing in front of the altar when he sees this picture. He would say, oh, Satyanarayana is angry with me. Right? So, and the most interesting thing was, whenever Satyanarayana Vratam was being performed, right, he becomes the center of the worship, right? The altar is specially made in such a way that this picture is put in front and center stage and all the worship is offered. So as a child, he would stand along with his parents, maybe a 8-year-old or 6-year-old child. He would be standing in front of the picture like this, and he would open one eye to see whether the Lord is happy at least today.
Now that he's getting all the attention.
Yeah, as a child, that's what he would think. That, he would squint and see, is he looking a little more pleased than he usually is? But you would feel that, no, he is still having the same frown. So this was his habit, as a small child. Many years later, he comes to Parthi along with his mother. His mother has had interviews with Swami and all that. So that was the first time Swami is calling him for an interview along with his family. So imagine he enters the interview room, and the first thing that Swami does is, Swami stands in attention with his hands like this and makes that squinting expression.
Oh my God. Wow.
And his mother and grandmother and the other members, they're wondering, what is Swami doing here? Swami was going on doing like this, and this boy was perplexed, and he was stuck on the ground and he was looking at Swami like that. And then with a mischievous smile, Swami said, Swami nenu కోపంతో కాదురా ప్రేమతో చూస్తున్నారు. Swami is not looking at you angrily, Swami is looking at you with love. Right? And then he says that much later, when he actually went home and he climbed up a stool and looked at that picture closely, he said the most beautiful thing was he realized that it was a smile, which was from far, it was looking like it was a frown. And the way the lip was drawn in that painting was exactly like how Swami's smile was, with that pan and that color and all that. And he could put one and one together. So one thing, that connection, we have not come to Swami when we think we have come to Swami. And the other thing is, this relationship is one of love, right? As Swami so beautifully pointed out to that child, so beautifully pointed out to Mrs. Ratanlal, saying that, you look at me as a child and I acknowledge that. So we spoke about her journey and you beautifully summarized. One of the things which we've kept repeating over and over again is her very active social life and being very active in social service.
Before coming to Bhagwan.
Right, before coming to Bhagwan. And one of the things that we mentioned in passing, in fact, she mentioned in passing during that first darshan that she had, that she was having a certain health issue. She said she couldn't go hungry for too long. She had to keep eating something. So that was something that was also there in the background. This active social life,
Yes.
being a very active social worker. But this problem also was there, and this problem itself started way back in 1954. And she narrates of how it came to her notice that she was having this problem in the year 1954. I think there was an international conference of social workers or something of that sort arranged in Canada. Extremely big conference with representatives from all countries, and it was being hosted by some of the heads of states.
Yes.
She says that the conference opened in Montreal,
Yes.
and then they went to Quebec,
Yes.
and then all the big cities in
Yes.
Canada. And in
Ottawa.
Ottawa, they were hosted by the Prime Minister of Canada. So that's the kind of meeting it was. And then the next day of the conference was in Toronto, and there was a thriving Indian diaspora, as we all know. Even today, it's so.
Yes.
So somebody said that she's a very good cook of Indian dishes. So she ended up cooking for a lot of people there, 500 people,
500 people.
Guests who had gathered. So extremely busy day. She went out, she did the shopping, and she cooked and served and all of that. And that night, something happens which reveals this problem that was in her. So we will start the narration from this point. She narrates what happened at that point where she was participating in this conference, in this extremely high-level conference. I think there were about 25 delegates and 25 people from the host country itself. And there, this thing happens. We will listen to it in her own narration.
That night, Sai Prakash, I got a terrible attack. I could not bear that pain. At 12 o'clock, 12:30, I telephoned to one of the people. The team of doctors came, everybody, injection diya, ye diya, acha. I'm having continuous stomach pain, After conference, we went to Niagara. At that time, Novalgine was the painkiller, not Crocin and all that. I'm having Novalgine every 2 hours. We arrived in Niagara. From Niagara, we came to Washington, D.C., where President Eisenhower had a big welcome for us. Real terrific, and we were taken to the Senate. We were introduced. Then we come to New York, and we were taken to that big, what is that place? New York mein? Wait, that is again United Nations. I was supposed to go to California because we had after New York, we had our booking. I was coming by Queen Elizabeth, and we had to pay extra. So if whoever was coming from India, there were 15 delegates. And Mr. Anugrah Kumar Sinha, who was the finance minister of Bihar, he got sick. So the party, we were 3 Indians who had volunteered to come by Queen Elizabeth, and we were going to California. I cancelled my trip because that Cunard lady from Canada, she came with us, and the ship was every day going. I said, can't you do something? She says, you travel tomorrow. So she arranged everything, and we come to Paris, Cherbourg. From Cherbourg, I took a train and came to Zurich. I had put my husband's sister's son, for mechanical and electrical engineer. He was there for 9 years, getting the training. I met him, and I was supposed to stay for a week, but I took the flight and came to India. I come home, I'm perfectly all right. Right? I'm eating oil, everything. After a week, my husband says, let's go to Kashmir. So we sent our car to Pathankot, and we flew up to Pathankot. Pathankot, we took the car. From Pathankot, we had hardly reached Udhampur, where our driver village was. I said, stop the car. And sickness. I went few paces, and what do I see? That I am vomiting blood. It clots. Ye kya ho gaya? I didn't tell my husband. We come to Srinagar. Srinagar, there's very good doctor. Because I was born in Srinagar, brought up in Srinagar. My grandfather used to keep me till the age of 10. I was supposed to be his Devi, So after 10, my father said, I have to take her and educate her, otherwise she will be, So that doctor, Alija, was known. He came and he said, I don't know. Our x-rays are not working. How long are you going to be here? I said, we are here for 10 days. So those 10 days, I some or the other, pain, Novalgin, we come to Delhi. Sonlal got very angry with my husband that you are not taking care of her. You leave her, they are very good doctors. In the meantime, I am doing a lot of work for the Cancer Society. So here, Sonlal is एक डॉक्टर कोई बोले मेरी किडनी खराब है, कोई बोले कुछ 6-7 days they made up it, on the 7th day I told my brother-in-law I'm flying to Bombay. So I went straight to the Tata Memorial. Antia was the stomach specialist. I said, I don't know what is wrong with me. So the x-ray was there. At that time, no scanning and all this was not. I was so lucky that they found 3 duodenal big ulcers this side. He said, we can't even operate and you will have to suffer, but you should be careful, So I'm careful to nahi the. So that is how went on from 54 to 71. In 68, after the World Conference, Swami invited us. We were 13 women and about 9 men who were Swami's guests. But I used to get lot of attacks. And all these people, Swami, Mrs. Ratanlal has got pain. And Swami, what we would do? Turn his face. No, she has no pain. She's only acting. He wouldn't even give me vibhuti. I got such a complex. Because my husband is saying to Swami, she is not devoted to you. And Swami is making fun that I will make her my devotee.
So that, dear listeners, was her narration of how that problem was diagnosed. And doctors, of course, did say that nothing could really be done. So she was active. At the same time, she had this problem persisting. This is 1950s.
And in fact, Mr. Ratanlal also mentioned to Swami, right?
Right. I mean, the people around did mention to Swami that she was suffering, and Swami dismisses it by saying that there was nothing wrong.
There is nothing wrong. I mean, Swami would say, no, she's just acting. No, there is no pain.
Exactly. I mean, it also reminds me of that other episode which one of the former students often narrates, that, this place we know, in the earlier years, there used to be a lot of poisonous snakes and scorpions. Yeah. Scorpions, we of course know, they're famous. There was a student who actually had a snake bite, and the local people identified the snake as being a poisonous one, and he actually was admitted in the hospital right away. And this was brought to Swami's attention. They said, Swami, so-and-so, the student has been bitten by a poisonous snake. And Swami said, no, poisonous snake and all that. It's just a thorn. He's just run a thorn. And they said, no, Swami, he's actually quite sick and it's a poisonous snake. Swami said, no, nothing wrong with him. Almost like, similarly, he's just pretending. There's nothing wrong. So that later when that boy was told this, he was probably a little, upset about that.
Swami's taking it so lightly.
Especially, as youngsters, even in a family, any ailment or any sickness is a opportunity for you to get attention from your mother, right?
Yes.
And here is Swami kind of dismissing such a serious problem that he was in. But much later, actually, Swami said that I didn't want to acknowledge that it was a snake bite. Because if I say it in words that it was a snake bite, it would have been fatal for you. That's why I dismissed it as a thorn prick, and it became a thorn prick for you.
Wow.
So maybe that was one way of Swami putting aside what was an
I think
ulcer, which they
Definitely.
said.
And when you look at, she had like 3 duodenal ulcers.
Right.
And she was so active, touring so many countries, and she was active, 1968 World Conference, she was active. I mean, she was able to do everything only because Swami has sort of
Dismissed
it, or he just kept it subdued, and at the right time, Swami will take care of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and Swami didn't expect anything less from her. If you really look at it that way, it is Swami didn't look at her as a patient. Swami didn't look at her as somebody who should not be strained.
Correct.
Swami said no.
Yeah.
She was active, and Swami encouraged her to be more active. So this was the backdrop in which another very important event happens in the avataric life. One of the reasons why it's very important for us to go through the narrations of somebody like Mrs. Ratanlal is she's played important roles in many of Swami's projects, and in narrating her journey with Swami, she is also able to help us document some of the important events in Swami's life. So one important event that comes in the narration of Mrs. Ratanlal next is the inauguration of the Anantapur campus, or what later became the Anantapur campus. Back then it was the Sri Sathya Sai College for Women in Anantapur, the first major educational institution that Swami set up in the year 1968.
Yes.
But the college building itself came a little later. Maybe talking about the Anantapur College, maybe a little bit of backdrop of it. When we had a conversation with Miss Rani Java, the daughter of Mr. Java, a great devotee of Swami, she was narrating how when Swami went on that trip to Africa, East Africa, Swami wanted Mother Ishwarama to be in Mr. Java's care. And in fact, Swami said, Mr. Java, you don't come with me, because otherwise he was always traveling with Swami wherever he went. Swami said, you stay back here and you take care of Mother Ishwarama. So Mother Ishwarama stayed in Bombay at that time. And for the first time, she actually was interacting with young girls or women who were educated, who were properly educated, because Mr. Java's daughters were all educated. His other family members must have been educated.
3 daughters?
3 daughters or something like that. So, moving with them, seeing their culture, seeing their way they were going about doing things, she made a firm resolve that when Swami comes back, I should tell Swami that, Swami, we need education for women.
Sort of a very new and sort of eye-opening experience.
Right.
And it also shows how open she was.
Right? So, in fact, Miss Rani Java says that in the airport, she actually said, Swami, I want a college for women. Right?
Miss Swami is just returning
from East Africa.
And the first thing
she says, tells Swami, that also is speaks volumes about the mothers. As Swami would often say, that everything that Swami has done had seeds in her pious prayers. So imagine Swami has come back after a foreign trip. How many mothers, after her son returns from a foreign trip, actually puts a prayer so selfless? Right? She says, Swami, I want a college for women. But what she doesn't realize, and what Swami reveals at that point, is Swami laughs and says that I've already started. Because much before, actually, Swami had told some devotees in Anantapur that he wants a piece of land because he has plans to start a college. And very interestingly, we spoke to another devotee, Mr. Nagaraj from Anantapur, from the Chidambaraya family, again a devotee's family that came to Swami in the 1940s. So they were instrumental in helping Swami locate a land and buy the land. He was telling about, how backward the thinking of people was about Swami, right? Because they identified this huge piece of land which they wanted to buy, and Swami gave an advance of 10,000 rupees, which was a big sum at that point. So when they went and paid it to this landowner, he asked this other devotee Jwalanaya, and the other devotees from Anantapur, he said, will this money remain or will it vanish?
Oh my God.
Because he was wondering, did Swami materialize this money? And generally you have this idea that these materialized objects will, after some time go back to where they came from. So he said, will this remain? Or, so all those kind of challenges. So Swami came for the registration of the land. So they got the registration done, and then Swami said, okay, let's go and see the land. In a way of Swami wanted to go and bless the land, right? So they got a rusted metal chair on which Swami sat, and then Swami actually revealed his vision for the college.
Wow.
And then Swami said something so beautiful and profound. He said, in this world, there is Brahmaloka, and that is the mother's womb.
Wow.
Right? Because all of you are created there. So he said, including this body. Since everybody, man and woman, has been created in that womb, that Brahmaloka is actually that mother's womb. Then Swami said, that is the most compassionate space in this world.
Wow.
Right? The mother's womb. Because nowhere else you feel so safe, nowhere else you feel so nourished. And if a mother is educated in the right way, she will bring up children in the right way, and they will be good citizens in this country. So Swami said, my vision is, I want to bring and give good mothers to the society. So I want to start a women's college. Right? So Swami's vision, Swami revealed it that day. So these are as we said, as we are going through the life of Mother Mrs. Ratanlal, it also gives us the opportunity to look at Swami's avataric life. A very important landmark in Swami's avataric life is the inauguration of the Anantapur College. And here is Swami revealing, in fact, at the inauguration of the college, Swami says that one of the greatest disasters that has happened in modern India is we have removed God from education. We have removed spirituality from education, and I'm going to correct that by starting this educational institution. So that was how Swami started the Anantapur College, in which she was enormously involved. We will come to that.
Yeah, I mean, given what Bhagwan said about the importance of starting the Anantapur College, no wonder that, Swami was so deeply involved in the construction of the college. They say that, in those days, Swami was literally the supervisor, the construction engineer, the architect, because every day, Swami used to go. It was 1.5 hour drive from Prashanti. Swami would every day go there, and in fact, even the mixing of the concrete and sand, the ratio, everything Swami was there to supervise and direct the workers. I mean, it shows the amount of personal, physical involvement of Bhagwan in the construction of the Anantapur College. And of course, after the college was inaugurated, just to give an instance of how deeply Swami was into every aspect of this college. After the college was inaugurated, we had Professor Hemalata, one of the principals, one of the very first principals of the Anantapur College. And so one day Swami calls her and Swami says, see, all the construction material that were not used, all the decoration items, that were still left behind. So I have kept all of them in these 2 rooms, these 2 big rooms, and I have locked them. So here are the keys. So you keep these keys, because now you are the custodian, you are the principal of the college. And Professor Hemalata was very new to Bhagwan's mission, new to being an administrator, new to run an institution. So immediately she did not know how to react, and she just said, Swami, there is no stock register, Swami. We have not started any stock register. How do I maintain all this? And then Swami immediately told her, stock register? Swami says, Andari stock registers, Anninti stock registers, Na daggare unnaile. Which means you're talking about stock registers? The stock register of everything and every person in the world is with me. What a moment, what a revelation. For Professor Hemalata, of course, she did not know how to react. But as she was reflecting on these moments, she was saying, about how Bhagwan was so deeply involved, at the same time giving those powerful moments of revelation so that you know whom you are living with. And there were so many such moments for her as she was taking over running the institution. These were lessons that were coming from Bhagwan. Like, for example, there was one more such instance where Swami tells her, I have kept 2 big paintings in that room, in that storeroom. You go and bring them. One is on Ramayana and one is on Mahabharata. Actually, ideally, one Swami gave her the keys. Probably she should have gone and she should have checked every piece of item what is there in that room. But the college has just started. There are so many things to do. Probably she had not done that homework. But Swami told, you go and get those two paintings. And so she went to the room and she opened and she scanned the entire room. But she did not find any huge paintings, the way Bhagwan described. And so she went back to Swami and said, Swami, I can't find Swami. There is nothing like that. Maybe it's in some other place or something. Swami said, no. It should be there. It is there only. And then Swami himself came to the storeroom. And Swami went to one corner of that storeroom. And Swami pointed out two big boards. These two boards were actually facing the wall. So it was not very visible. And Swami told him to turn those paintings. And see, this is on Ramayana and this is on Mahabharata. I know it is there. And for Himalata, madam, it was like how alert you should be, how meticulous you should be, when you get a chance to serve. You might miss all these opportunities to serve if once you are given a significant role, if you are not careful enough, if you don't do your homework well, you don't know what are the opportunities that, might just slip out of your hands. Similarly, another instance, so Swami tells her, there was one room for Bhagwan in the campus, in the college itself, because Swami used to travel so often in those days to Anandpur. And so Swami tells her that, every Sunday or once a week.
Incidentally, I think that room was also set up by Mrs. Ratanlal.
Mrs. Ratanlal, yes.
She says later.
Yes. It was Mrs. Ratanlal who set up that. Because Swami tells her, you set up my room in Dharmakshetra. You set up this room also. Yes. Must be a very little room from whatever we know of Bhagwan's choice of rooms and dimensions. So Swami tells Professor Hemlata, clean that room once a week. And so Swami used to come, right, often. So they were doing that diligently, but one Sunday they missed cleaning that room because, there are too many things to do and probably she just missed, the faculty did not clean Swami's room. The next Sunday at 2 o'clock, she's in her home. She was not staying in the hostel because she was married. So she used to stay in the town. So at 2 o'clock, Swami's car comes to her house. And, she's shocked that Swami's car has come here. And she rushes out and she sees, to her utter shock, Swami is not there. Swami's driver is coming out of the car. And the driver is rushing to Himlata madam. And she says, Swami has already arrived. Swami is in the campus and he has sent me because Swami says he has forgotten his key. And Swami said that you have the duplicate key. Please give the duplicate key so that Swami can go to his room to rest. And she says, oh my God. And she rushes. And when she comes to Bhagwan's presence in the college, she says, Swami, just give half an hour, Swami. I will clean up the room. Swami said, you did not clean? I said, it should be cleaned every week. And she really had to cut a sorry figure in front of Bhagwan. So, when Bhagwan gives us those opportunities, so you have Bhagwan's room there and Swami has told that you should clean it every week. Wherever we are, we have our own altars, we have our own samitis, we have our own places of worship. When we mentally say, Swami, this is your place, this is your abode, we have to conform to maintaining that place with that discipline, with that dedication, with that commitment. It's not as if today you have the time, so I will clean the altar, next Sunday it's okay, I don't have to do it. No, if you feel Swami is there in that altar, just like we have to clean our own hearts every day, if we have a puja room, if we have our own center, and I think it's so important if we are feeling Swami's presence there to do acts in a manner that respects that feeling. Otherwise, Swami has his own ways of letting us know that if you cannot do that job, somebody else will do it and probably you will just lose that opportunity. And there were so many such instances like this, when the Anandpur College inauguration happened. And as Prem said, Mrs. Ratanlal was involved with so many such arrangements, looking after the VIPs, looking after the decorations. So let's go back to Mrs. Ratanlal and hear from her about a few things that she has narrated where she was involved, and then we'll spend more time contemplating on them.
70 building started. Swami took us for the foundation stone and everything. Then Swami was coming to Bombay, So he went to Shanmukhanand Hall and he liked that curtain. And then he comes back and says, can't we have that curtain? So I went to Regal. That Regal owner was very well known. I said, Parsi gentleman. I said, how can? He says, Amma, it's very simple. I'll make the curtain. But then you'll have to take the man from Bombay. It will not be. So I said, all right, first take the man to Anandpur. He will take the measurement and he will do all the fittings, electric fittings, how the thing. And then we'll make the curtain, and when it is ready, we'll send the man and he will do it. That is how it started. Then secondly, Swami's bedroom. So Swami says, oh, you made my bedroom in Dharamkshetra, you make my bedroom here also.
In Anantapur.
Anantapur. So I ordered. Then started all sorts of things. So we used to go very often to Puttaparthi.
From 70 itself construction started.
Huh?
Construction started in 70.
70, and Swami used to every week go to Anandpur, stay there 3-4 days, come back to Puttaparthi. Swami has got, when this college started, he was spending more time in Vrindavan than Puttaparthi. Same habit. He did from Puttaparthi to go to Anandpur was very simple. It's 1.5 hour drive, you know. So he used to go very often, and if we were there, he would take us with him. And then he would also come back in the evening. So there used to be our taxi and Swami's car, not paraphernalia, you know. So gradually and slowly, this thing, that thing, the responsibility started coming. Then 1 month before, you know, I had to, because tailoring, curtains and all that.
For the inauguration.
For the inauguration. So, I said, Swami, I'll come. 15 days before I came. And 3 minibus with all the machines, sewing machine.
From Mumbai.
So everything from Bombay. 2 days before, you know what happened, Sai Prakash? Suddenly Swami says, hey, hostel mein plates hi nahi hai. There is no glasses, nothing. You know, those big vessels cooking के तो पुट्टपर्थी से आ जाएंगे, मगर वो खाना कैसे खाएंगे? Leaves में खा लेंगे, but glass तो चाहिए ना. तो Swami, now what can we do? Swami, I cannot go to Bombay because there is so much work. All these 10-15 boys were also there. So I said, Swami, I'll phone Jeevan Lal. I had good connection. I telephoned to Jeevan Lal. I said, Jeevan Lal bhai, 300 plates, and कहते it has just come from the factory. It was 5 o'clock. The train leaves at 9 o'clock. It was all packed. I said, Jeevan Lal bhai, he is also Swami's deputy. I said, Jeevan Lal bhai, एक काम करो, वो सब कुछ गाड़ी में बैठा दो, उसको अनंतपुर में मैं आके रिसीव कर लूँगी, उसकी मैं शाम की टिकट कर दूँगी, उसको सब बिल दे दो, पैसा पूसा सब उसको मिल जाएगा, वो कल सुबह परसों सुबह आपके पास पहुँच जाए. That is how the plates
came.
So you heard from Mrs. Ratanlal about the plates which just came mysteriously. And she mentions about the curtains. Swami liked those curtains in Shanmukhananda Hall in Mumbai, and how Swami wanted the same kind of electric curtain in the Anandpur College. What she does...
For a moment, it looked like Swami had forgotten the plates. But actually, Swami had wanted to remember the plates only then.
Yeah, absolutely. He has already made the arrangements.
Right, the arrangements have already been made.
Yes, it's just that someone has to be that instrument. Someone, you know, every moment with Swami is like, for the devotees around, it is a testing moment actually. It's a moment of how alert you are, where is your mind and where is your thought. So, you know, talking about the curtains, there is one thing that happened which in the video Mr. Ratanlal did not mention, but she later had shared it. So once these curtains came from Mumbai, you know, it was different, right? It was the electric curtain, and in the 60s, all this technology was a new thing. And Swami really liked how, you know, it was in Mumbai. And so she had told this person who arranged the curtain to send a worker along with that, because the local workers probably will not
Right.
know how to set it up. And so there were ashram 1 or 2 engineers who were looking after various aspects of the construction. So unknown to Mrs. Ratanlal, one day Swami suddenly came there, and Swami wanted to see the curtains if it is all set up. And there were some other ashram engineers, and they said, "Hi Swami, it is all done." So Swami went, and you're supposed, it's the electric curtain, you're supposed to press the button and the curtain will open. And Swami did that, nothing happened. And Swami called Mr. Ratanlal. Swami said, "You said you set up the electric curtain, but nothing is happening. What is this?" And now Mrs. Ratanlal did not know what to say, because she doesn't know what has happened. To her knowledge, this curtain should have been set up in a particular way. She had no clue what was happening. And what do you answer Swami? So she said, "Swami, just give me some time." So she went behind, and she was trying to ask around what happened. And that's when she figured that one of the ashram engineers, he had called some local workers and set up the curtain. Okay. And that is not how the curtain should be set up. That person had no clue. And then Mrs. Ratanlal was frantically looking for the worker who had come from Bombay to set it up. And that's when she figured that the whole thing has been done the wrong way. And now she goes to Swami and she pleads with Swami, "Swami, just give half an hour, Swami. Half an hour you give, Swami, I'll set it up. And after that you come." And she tells everyone, "All of you, please go. Just give 30 minutes and I will set it up." And so Swami also sort of listens to her prayer, and Swami says, "Okay, I will come after some time." And that's when she calls the worker, and this worker is furious. She says, "Amma, this is not how it is set up. You have set it up topsy-turvy. It's not how this curtain should be set up." And she says, Okay, doesn't matter. You just set it up now." And she says, she was so tensed because you don't know when Swami will come. Swami says, half an hour could be 10 minutes for Swami, anything. And she just says that, "I was just standing in one corner. I was just saying, Saram. She just praying." And she was just, she felt that, her Namasmarana will give all the energy to that worker to complete that work in time, because that guy had to undo everything and set up again, and you don't know whether it's going to work. If anything is damaged, there are a lot of risks involved. Everything has come from Mumbai. You don't have much time for the inauguration. But, the way she handled that issue, she was not mad after the engineers, she was not mad after the workers or anything. Whole thing was, okay, this is a problem. All I have to do is just surrender to Swami. I have to just keep praying and things will turn out. Now, I think that there is a deep lesson there. Whenever we are doing Swami's work, there will be challenges. There will be things sometimes which will not go our way. But those are the moments when we have to be calm. We have to maintain our composure. When Swami gives an opportunity, he gives the ability. But for us to unlock that ability, I feel we should have that humility and surrender to Bhagwan. I think only when we have that kind of an approach, then we'll be able to make use of our abilities to make use of those opportunities that Bhagwan gives. And I think that is something very, very powerful that you learn from Mrs. Ratanlal, and we'll find many such opportunities and many such instances as we go through her life.
And the other beautiful thing about all of these narrations, she also says in one of the conversations that this was Swami's involvement for each institution that he set up. Right? The amount of time that he would give, as she would say, almost every weekend Swami would go. One of the devotees was saying that there was this building that Swami had to come and inaugurate in Anantapur campus. Swami's come to inaugurate does not mean that Swami will come on the inauguration day. Right? So there was this building, and the roof had not been put. The building had been, I think, must be one of the college buildings only. So Swami had said that I'll come and I'll oversee the putting of the roof. And Swami comes and says, you can imagine all the walls are there, the roof is open. And Swami playfully says, "I came to open the building is already open." Right? So he was never the chancellor who came to open a building, right? He was there all through. And each one of these, right? Why should Swami go to Shanmukhananda Hall and then see a curtain and say, "This curtain is good, let's have it"? And he could have just said that this is what I want. So every stage, that involvement, I think Swami was also teaching us how do you go about a project. How, with what kind of attention to detail, what should drive your choices. The other very beautiful episode, whenever you talk about the Anantapur College, this comes up. Many of our listeners might already know, but nevertheless, just to sensitize ourselves about how you go about doing work. This was during the when they were drawing the lines for the campus, right? As we were saying, 68 Swami had started the college, but 69 or something, I think the Bhumi Puja was done during Swami's birthday celebrations, and then they started drawing the markings for raising the building. So Swami comes to the campus and Swami is looking around, and Swami calls Professor Hemalata's husband, who happens to be the tallest and the most well-built person in that group. And Swami tells him, pick up that stone. So it's a small pebble, he picks it up. Then Swami says, throw it as far as you can throw. Right? So, put all your might behind it and throw. Like a weird instruction from Swami. So he throws it as far as he can. And then Swami calls the engineers. And Swami says, go find where that rock has fallen. And from there, measure 50 feet and then draw the boundary for the compound wall. Right? And they were surprised why Swami is saying this. And then Swami said, see, this is Anantapur town, a lot of other political activities keep happening. Other college students go on strike and
District
all that happens. Right, all those confusions happen. If some miscreants come to the gate.
That was this being a women's college.
Right, being a women's college. Swami said, if they throw stones, it should not come anywhere near my, girls' building.
Wow.
Right? Again, an example of Swami could have just stood there that day and say, from here, measure this many 100 feet and draw a compound. But how do you go about making a decision like that?
Yes.
How you're always sensitive to the needs of the people whom you're doing it for. Right? So I think Swami was, in all this, Swami, as a person who is, we all know, as the Lord who is omniscient, could have just said, put this curtain, get this plate, draw the marks here. But he didn't do that. Right? He involved everybody, and in the process of involving everybody, he taught how to be sensitive, how to make practically wise decisions. What are the things you should be thinking about when you're making those decisions? So I think there's learning in everything that Swami did.
And how protective Swami was, like a mother of the Anantapur sisters, in those days. Definitely Anantapur town was not an easy town, and really, when you think deeper about all these things, the number of insights that come, really they move you. In fact, there's another very moving instance concerning the Anantapur College inauguration preparation, which Mr. Ratanlal was deeply involved. As we said, she was involved with practically everything, looking after the guests and arranging all these curtains to plates to everything. Then Swami, see, the moment you do a particular task well, for example, the curtains thing, finally she got it done. So when God gives you a responsibility and you play that role very well, then you get a promotion, you get more opportunities. At the physical level also, you have more trust, because here is a person, you give a task and she will deliver. So that's what happened. If you look at, in a very mundane way also, the relationship of Mrs. Ratanlal and Bhagwan, everything she did so well that, she kept getting higher and higher responsibilities from Bhagwan. And one thing that Swami asked her to do at that time was to paint the Anantapur campus before the inauguration. And Swami gives a clear instruction to her. You are not going to touch my room. Swami says, you paint the entire college. If I ask you to paint my room, then you will use all the resources, all the workers to just do up my room nicely. So I don't want any resource, any worker, painter to be used for my room. So you paint the entire building. And she says, okay, Swami. And she goes about her job, getting the campus painted. But, there is so much of restlessness, within her. It's a mother's heart, will you ever be happy that Swami's room is not being painted? The whole campus is being painted, whole college is being painted, and this is what Swami wants. She just could not reconcile herself, to that thought, and she said, no, I have to do something. But Swami says you cannot use any resource, any worker. So what she does, she calls one worker who is not a painter and who's not involved in the painting process at all, and she gets a ladder and she herself goes to Swami's room, and with the help of this worker, she decides to paint Swami's room on her own. And she describes later on. Unfortunately, we don't have the video of of these beautiful instances. So she's on the ladder and she's giving instructions to this worker who is on the ground. She's painting different shades, and you want a lighter shade, darker shade. So she's having those brushes, and so she keeps giving instructions to this worker to get this, get that, get more water, mix this. So, and this worker was diligently doing whatever she was asking him to do. And after a while, she saw that the worker is not responding. And she's continuously giving instructions, and this guy is not responding at all. And she wondered what happened. She looked back and she froze because a few minutes before that worker had frozen because Swami had come. And Mrs. Ratanlal didn't know what to do. So, and when she looked at Swami, you don't know how Swami is going to react because Swami had given clear instructions. Right? You should not do anything in my room. And this is exactly the opposite she is doing. But Swami just stands there and Swami just laughs, and then there is a beautiful smile. Swami just smiles so heartily, doesn't say anything. See, I think it all depends on from what level of purity and depth of love you do things for Bhagavan. That concern for Swami, she didn't want to do it to show off to anyone. She didn't want to do it for ostentation. She did not want to do it just for the sake of anyone knowing that she's just like a mother. A mother does not want, not looking for recognition when she's doing something for the child. The mother does not care whether the child even noticed, whether the child, ever acknowledged. It's just that satisfaction that the child is comfortable and I have to do the best for my child. And I think that is the feeling with which Mrs. Ratanlal did everything for Bhagavan, and that is the reason why Swami also responded that way. I think anyone else probably would have got a different response from Bhagavan, but here Swami accepted that because it was not anything artificial. It was coming straight from the heart. And I think those are lessons that you learn from a sacred soul like Mrs. Ratanlal, because all our duty, our responsibility, our instructions, all our roles, everything goes below pure love. If your love is that pure, then there are no rules. You go above all the rules, isn't it?
Right. So we are in that time in chronology where Swami is about to inaugurate the campus, 1971, July 1968.
Yes.
Right after Swami comes back from East Africa, Swami starts the college as always he does. He doesn't wait for the infrastructure. He starts off the project, and then the best of the infrastructure follows very shortly, and that's exactly what happens. 1971, Guru Purnima, Swami is all set to inaugurate the new building. And the President of India was the chief guest at that time, he and the First Lady.
Yes.
Among all the other works, imagine she's painting walls and so many other work she's doing. Swami insists that she should come and serve the President and the First Lady. That's one more responsibility that Swami gives her. But in the backdrop of all this, on one hand, you are hosting the President. On the other hand, she is also doing some other work that is quite unimaginable, really. But all of this is actually happening, leading to what we started off with.
Yes.
That ailment that she was suffering, that ulcers that she was having, that might not be frequent, but those bouts of vomiting blood. So all of that culminates to something that happens on the day of inauguration. I think after the inauguration, everything is over.
Yes.
But that part, we will listen to it in Mrs. Ratanlal's narration. After that, we'll come back, reflect briefly, and we'll conclude this episode.
And you know what happened? The dining room where we fed the president and his wife, Giri. There is a pantry, there is no water outlet. And Lord, not knowing, after the president is fed, he's sending everybody of Puttaparthi to go and eat. We have enough food, we have put the food on the top. But the water is not, we have to wash the dishes, na? So we are washing dishes and the water is getting, and I am till 4:30. By 4:30 the water is coming up to this level. You know, from 9 o'clock, 10:30 to 4 o'clock, I'm standing in this much water. You know, I'm asking somebody to, you know, put some sort of a thing, thoda to pani nikle, you know, and we are getting buckets of water so that we are washing the dishes and putting that and giving it outside.
So after that,
Then finish, I go and have my bath. There are 4,000 people waiting there for Swami and they want to come back to Bangalore. Swami takes me and Dr. Gokak to his room and starts talking spirituality. After 15-20 minutes, I said, my Lord, there are people waiting to do namaskar to you, and please go and send them off, and then we will talk. You know, all right. But all these people saw both of us called there. I had a feeling something is going to happen. I didn't eat nothing. I had a glass of milk. Then 12:30 I started, and you know that house was such that you can't open the door. So I had to throw the chair, I had to jump on that chair, and I went on vomiting clots of blood. This was my third time. You know, and doctor had warned me that if you have a hemorrhage like that, you cannot survive. So 5 o'clock Swami's coffee used to go. And Swami's room is upstairs, my room is downstairs, you know. And he had, you know, he always has a habit, when he gets up, after he has, you know, he will always look around from the window, you know.
so then that is when Swami called you up.
That is how Swami went on.
After you had the vomiting of the...
You know, I was in a very bad shape. I was almost half dead. I'm lying on my bed. My sari, my face, there is no water. My sari, my face is full of blood. And Swami started calling me, Mrs. Ratanlal, Mrs. Ratanlal. Now Mrs. Ratanlal hasn't got himmat to get up from the bed. So this Rao's son, young man, was driving the jeep and who was always helping me. Then Swami asked him to come down. Understand? And he saw me, my God. He said, what has happened? I said, first go and get some water. So I washed my face. Then he thought he'll help me. I said, you don't help me. I'll go on. So I held the steps, Sai Ram, but climbed. Last 3 steps I had no. So I sat down. Swami is holding that glass of coffee, half finished. He says, what is all that outside? I didn't strike me that he's talking about, you know, at that time the mind is not there. I said, how do I know what is outside, Swami? Then suddenly he said, put your hand forward. He puts one dose and gives me that glass. I said, Swami, this is your glass. I cannot drink as people. Please give me another glass. Hey, shouting, bathe, stupid, you know, all that. I had to drink. Wait here. After 10 minutes, he again comes back with a glass of water. Again his own glass, because there was nobody. So he comes, gives me a second dose and asks me to keep that water with me. After half an hour of waiting, again he comes and gives me a third dose.
Of some medicine.
It is vibhuti.
Vibhuti only?
All vibhuti but different taste. All three are different days. He goes, now go back and lie down. After half an hour, he gets ready to go to the campus and comes back. No, suddenly he's saying, send the jeep and then after half an hour, I feel I've got nothing. My strength, everything. So I took, the toilet is quite far off. So I took bucket of hot water, then one bucket cold water, then came back one bucket of cold water, then came back because the sari, everything is full of blood. I washed my clothes, I had a bath, everything. I come back and my mantra is taking 45 minutes. With my eyes closed, I am doing that. I was surprised that me 2 hours ago and 2 hours after, I'm absolutely peaceful, so happy, so all that. And suddenly the jeep and this boy comes. Swami is calling you in the campus. But auntie, Swami told you to rest. But you are looking so well and so fit. I said, I had worn out because when you are with Swami, you had to dress up because he was very particular. So I changed my sari and I sat and whole day long I'm working there.
So that's the magical, moving manner with which the ulcer that kept troubling her right from 1954 just melted away. And the way she was narrating that, look at Bhagwan's concern for her. Every 10 minutes, every half an hour, Swami was coming to her and Swami was giving vibhuti. Every tumbler of water with vibhuti had a different flavor, a different taste, and Swami ensured that in 45 minutes she was a completely new self. And she dresses up and she goes to the program to attend the forthcoming programs that were planned as part of the Anandpur College inauguration ceremony. And when you look at her life, we keep saying this to Sevadals and to people who serve Bhagwan that if your focus is on Bhagwan, if your attention, if you give your life to Bhagwan, you don't ever have to worry about what is happening to you. You dedicate yourself to Swami and you will see that how Swami is dedicated to you. And I think that's what you see in her life. She never ever went and told Swami that I have this problem. When others went and told Swami, Swami said problem does not exist. But at some point that whole defect or whatever malady in her body had to be corrected. And perhaps Swami waited for the Anandpur campus inauguration function to be over. And the way Swami did it, Swami gave his own tumbler, his coffee, his water with his own hands and ensured that this problem goes forever. I mean, it just shows that if you give yourself completely to his work, his mission, the Swami will go to any extent. We should never even have that iota of doubt, what will happen to me? Nothing will happen to you. If you have that kind of commitment and that kind of focus, in fact, when you have that kind of focus, these little things will not even worry us. We will go above it, and whatever that is to be sorted out in our life will automatically get sorted out with His grace, and He will do it at the right time and in the most fantastic manner. This is something that I think a lot of people who serve Swami, Sevadals have experienced. But as we go through Ratanlal's life, Mr. Ratanlal's life, you will find many more such instances. But this just to reiterate that if we are 100% dedicated to Swami, if our priority is Swami, we will experience how we are all the time a priority for Bhagavan, isn't it?
Really, and as Swami was saying in a discourse very beautifully, he said, what is devotion and what is dedication? When you say that, Swami, this body, this life, everything belongs to you, right? anything, any flaw in the body, any malady in the body, any disease in the body, that also belongs to him, right? He says, if you will, you take care of it. If you don't, so be it, right? Swami says that is the attitude of a devotee. So as you can see, it is not the idea that I dedicate myself, you do this for me, right? A devotee never thinks like that. I'm sure she never thought like that.
Yes.
With everything, with my flaws, with my physical flaws, with my mental flaws, all I can do is just dedicate this body, this life to you, Swami. Use it in the best way you feel befitting, right? I think that is the attitude with which Mrs. Ratanlal led her life. That is the lesson that each one of us need to draw and fashion our own lives so that it becomes a worthy offering to Bhagwan. So dear listeners, with this thought, we'll conclude the 6th part of this reflections on the life of Mrs. Ratanlal. We most humbly offer and dedicate this at Bhagwan's lotus feet. Thank you for your company this evening. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.